Welcome to Insight with Moonshadow. I am Moonshadow, an integrative holistic therapist, intuitive shaman, interfaith minister, and evangelist with over 30 years of experience in the healing field, as well as internationally. And my intention here is to help you better connect to your inner self, and therefore you being a better person to you, as well as you being a better person around you. So today's topic, it comes up, of course, every week. It's an instinctual and intuitive topic. My guides, my inner counsel, my soul counsel tells me what to pass on for information every week. Now, this week, it's a very prominent, it's a lot of interesting information. And the reason why is because we have all probably, or some of us, have been out there in the jungle. And I'm going to say in the jungle because isn't it interesting how the world is a certain way? And you would think that after, you'd think during the holidays people would actually be nicer. Welcome, Lynn. You would think people are nicer during the holidays. But no, it doesn't work that way. And a lot of times we've heard the saying, goodwill towards men, meaning, be a better, kinder person during the holidays, right? Pleasure seeing you, Lynn. So glad you're here. So now we have two different aspects here, two different co-topics for this particular show. Is during when it starts getting colder and it starts to get more wintry, we don't do as much outside. So we tend to get a bit of the blues. So between holiday blues, this is what the topic is today, to try to uplift you and enrich you out of this energy that can bring us down, that could turn us into monsters. There's a friend of mine that has the term me monster, because it's all about me, right? So basically, you're in a hurry. You have to get from point A to point B. And honestly, I will say this. Going back many, many, many moons ago when I was younger, you would never even hear of an elderly woman getting trampled in a store. This has become almost commonplace. Violence over a stupid toy or a stupid newest thing. So this is one of the reasons why Insight with Moonshadow has even come up, why it's even came up from the forefront, because I wanted to share some good juju and some good healing and some good energy to help you. And I also learn from you as well. So to guide and teach, as well as to learn from some techniques and learn from your experiences, learn from your stories. Because all of us have a story. All of us have an experience. All of us have a history. So now seeing, and I can actually say this topic couldn't be more closer to my heart today, is because I was out there. I was in the mix of some stores just to get something, and it's the wrong thing. It doesn't fit. Go figure. So went out there for bupkis, but it fueled this topic. So that is a good thing. So now Anthony's saying people with constant health problems like diabetes and cerebral palsy make holiday depression and seasonal depression even harder. And it can be. If you're not well, whether it be mentally well, if you have depressive issues or anxiety, during the holidays it can make you much worse. You could also, if you have health issues, you have a hard time being ambulatory. It's especially harder for you to get out there and do this commercial, this big commercialistic, exodus or into out of your homes and into the craziness that we call Christmas shopping. So again, I've never been a huge fan of the whole commercialistic part of Christmas shopping. I've always been more involved in the spirit of Christmas, the spirit of Santa, the gift, the connection to family, all of that, right? All of that's so important. Hey, Olivia, we got Olivia in the house. So now, being out there, being out and about, and it becoming winter, a lot of people get affected. There is an actual malady called seasonal affect disorder, and it's ultimately called SAD. And having seasonal affect disorder does make you sad. It is an effect, right? So, and I can say, even though I don't suffer from seasonal affect disorder. However, I will say, from summer, from being out there, even fall, being out there, enjoying walking, enjoying being out in nature. Then all of a sudden, it's getting colder. There's more snow. There's more people not really necessarily being able to drive or knowing how to drive on the road. The insanity of the holidays. All of this can weigh heavy on your soul and on your spirit and on your body even. Because think about this. You get so ramped up, okay? Like road rage. I remember early on, before I actually connected to my inner Zen, even I had a little bit of road rage. Well, more than a little bit. But I had road rage long before road rage was there. But then I had to sit there and look within and go, look, this is not helping you. You're not doing any good raging while driving around because someone's in your way. So I had to go and really tap within to really connect and say, okay, this is something where instead of being overly reactionary, think 5 to 10 seconds before you say or think something, because something that you may say may either hurt someone or affect someone or get into an accident with someone. You never know. So think before you do a lot of things. So now, this being said, during the Christmas season, you have this insanity that happens. Like, we all go temporarily insane, where it's like, okay, the pressure of Christmas, the pressure of getting a good deal and getting the sales, doing all this stuff, all of this incorporating into the cold weather, having to bundle up, maybe being prepared or not being prepared to be out there, can cause a lot of issues that could ultimately can affect your physical body. Hey, Joe, welcome. So that being said, we're going to go over some tips and some tricks and some things and some life hacks that could get you out of not getting into me monster mode and then getting into rageful me monster mode, and actually be a kinder, gentler person. I will tell you, and this is absolute fact. You know, I swear this on my inner counsel, my soul counsel, and all of them, because they've witnessed it. During the holidays, I'm actually kinder and nicer than normal. Interesting. Kinder and nicer than usual. Why? Because there are people that are off kilter, right? So what are you going to choose? Are you going to choose to be part of the solution, or are you going to be part of the problem? Are you going to be another, pardon my French, but another a-hole out there in the world that's causing more damage? Or are you actually going to try to uplift and enrich people? And I'm not saying this in an unrealistic way. I'm actually talking in the way of actually being a nicer person, because what happens is we have the ripple effect. If you go ahead and you toss a stone into a body of water, you see the circle start getting larger and larger and larger. Fair enough. But let's just imagine this for a second. You do the same thing, but you're spreading rage or spreading judgment or spreading criticism. Now you're using the ripple effect in the wrong way. So, in the sense of, and I've used Star Wars metaphors quite often. You look at using the light side of the Force and the dark side of the Force. Too many people use the dark side. They go to the dark side. They move to the dark side. It's like, my kid wants that, that cinnamon bun Barbie. I'm going to run into whoever I have to get that last cinnamon bun Barbie. I say no. So there's certain things that you could do to dissipate this energy. Being calm is one. So one of the things you don't want to do is go already agitated, already tired. I know it's Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Super Tuesday, Wacky Wednesday. There will always be another sale, especially now in the economy that we live in today. You don't have to rush out. You don't have to be part of this monkey mind mentality and get yourself into a situation where you feel anxious or upset and therefore get sick. So Holly is saying, I like that you're saying you're going to be part of you're going to be a part of the problem, or part to resolve the problem. And it's important, because if you really think about it, and I'll tell you this, and this is one tip. You notice people that look like they're older than their age, like much older than their age. I can give you one good reason why this is happening. It is one word, and the word is stress. The word stress, the feeling of stress, the concept of stress, all of it. Just saying stress may stress you out. Right? Oh, that's okay, Holly. No worries. So this is the thing. And Holly was apologizing for the grammar. It's all good. I know exactly what you meant. Perfectly. It's all good. But see, this is the thing. So if you're already stressed out, now let's look at this as a math equation. Okay, now let's say 1 is you're stressed out. 2, it's Black Friday. So I can almost guarantee there's going to be an issue either before you leave the house, you're going to forget your keys, you're going to get out on the road, you're going to get other people that are equally stressed out, and then what happens? Accidents happen, you get cut off. Now where is the spirit of Christmas? Where is the spirit of gifts giving? Where is the spirit of family? Where is the goodwill towards men? Out the window, people. It's out the window. It is now gone. It does no longer exist. Over what? So one of the big tips that you need to take care of is, and to utilize, is don't go out already stressed. If you have to take a minute or take a moment or take 20 minutes to just breathe, then do it. If you need to focus on something else, do it. Think of a funny, a funny memory, because we all have funny holiday memories. There's got to be something in there. There's got to be something in that'll make you smile, make you laugh. Perfect example, the elf on the shelf. If that is not the perfect see all, be all, make you feel guilty for any possible thing you can do, you got to get an elf on the shelf. That's like an instant babysitter. Right? Now, I wasn't raised with an elf on the shelf. That didn't exist. Well, at least when I was younger, I never had an elf on the shelf. I just had straight up European guilt. But the elf on the shelf, they move it around the house. So this is a great tool for motivating your children. I know it is kind of creepy. Anna's saying it's kind of creepy. So that's kind of interesting, right? So now you have the selfish shelf and you move it around the house, and then the kid acts up, right? So they act out of, they're acting out or whatever it is, and then you as a parent go, hey, did you look on that shelf right there? And all of a sudden the kid's like, oh no, it's the elf. So there you go. So it could be comical for some, not comical for others, especially if you're not, especially when you're younger and you are under the looming guise of the elf on the shelf. So um, now, Tony here is saying that I just solve everyone's problems during the holidays and have people buy me gift cards and places that I like. Okay, well, you know what? That's great. Again, it's really important to be part of the solution and not part of the problem. Now, also too, like coming up this week, I am almost going to be not quite half a century old, but almost a half a century old. Now, I've already told people not to get me anything. Nothing. But people don't listen. So thank you. What am I going to say? However, it's really not about gifts. Okay? It's really not about the stress of what am I going to do and this and that. I believe very strongly in the just because. Now here's a second tip for good Christmas shopping. Do it throughout the year. Just because you're going to look at, say for example, a certain someone and they really like a certain thing, a certain book, or a certain movie. Hey, Bobby. Welcome, welcome. So say they like a certain book or a certain thing, and you see it, and you go, you know what? Hey, I know Bobby would love that. He'd love something like that. You buy it. So now you got one gift out of the way. Now, if you did that in small increments, instead of waiting till the end of the year, then you're insane. You have to, sell or mortgage your house, or you have to sell your first child, whichever it may be, for no real reason. Now, granted, again, this really isn't about the commercialism of it. This is about your mental state. This is about you being a better, healthier person, because the healthier and better you are, the healthier and better you are to everyone else. And that's going to make a whole lot of difference. So just think about this. If you don't eat well, you don't drink well, you don't exercise, and then you feel like crap, then you're like, Moon, I feel like crap. Why do I feel like crap? Okay, do you want the top 10? Do you want the whole list? Where is there self-care? Where do you take care of yourself? When do you actually do things that are good for you? And I'm not saying that you should be selfish or a me monster and step on people to make yourself feel better. You should never. Now, this is kind of within topic, kind of without, kind of out, kind of in. Just because you're miserable doesn't mean you need to make other people miserable. Are we agreed? So if you're not happy, do something about it. Make yourself feel better somehow. Whether it's taking a walk, whether it's working out, whether it's having chocolate. I would prefer throwing someone chocolate and having them get a cavity than them being a flaming, flipping a-hole towards me. All set. Here's some chocolate. Right? We don't need that. We don't need that kind of ambivalence. We don't need that kind of malice. Hey, Tara, welcome. So this is part of the thing. See, a lot of times we walk through the world thinking that people don't notice. A lot of times we walk through the world and we just react and we just say and we just do with no accountability. You know? See, I want chocolate. Okay, Tara, I'm sending you some virtual chocolate. I know you really like chocolate. So seriously, and if you get dark chocolate, it's even better. It's actually good for you. It's actually good for your endorphins, and you can actually lose weight. Yes, I said chocolate, and I said lose weight naturally. Wow, right? Now, um, no, that's perfectly okay, Tara. You're welcome, welcome, anytime. So now Anna's saying it's all about giving love. A card can mean more if it's well chosen and with a nice note. And I agree. Multiple times, if I have to get a card for somebody, I almost end up with a 50-50 proposition of having one or the other and then buying both. Why? Because one was a little funnier and I liked it. One was a little more heartfelt, and you're kind of feeling that love. You're feeling that vibe, right? But you want to kind of make them laugh, and you kind of. So you think mindfully. It's really all about being mindful about how you go into the world. And yes, and Holly's bringing up a very good fact as well, and grounding. Because a lot of times, if you're all over the place, and I will tell you this, here's another tip. Now, I don't have all this stuff written down. It's not all written down or all bullet pointed. This is stuff coming to you live, intuitively and instinctively, from your suggestions or coming straight from my own guides. But grounding is important. If I am not feeling patient to do something, so say, for example, assembly may be required. So now, during Christmas, we have a lot of that, right? Assembly may be required. You may have to put together stuff. You may have to put in batteries. You may have to take something apart to put in a battery, whatever it may be. If you are not in the mood to do it, and you cannot shift yourself to be in the mood to do it, then don't. Wait 10 minutes, wait 20 minutes, wait a day, because I'll tell you, doing it in a rush, not being patient, all hell's breaking loose. You're going to find missing parts. You're not going to be able to get it done. It's going to be problematic. You're going to have issues. Either you're going to have issues or someone's going to have issues with you. Right? Right. And that is true. So now Anna's saying, I have to make a hot chocolate very soon. I love the two card idea. My grandma would do that, and she would give, both get and give, two cards. And I agree with that. And because ultimately, and this, let's face it, a lot of times we think that you want the person to think well of you. Okay, I'll give you guys that. You want the person to think well of you. No one wants you to think that you're a total jerk, right? Oh, I get that. However, but if you're doing something truly, unconditionally for that person, you're going to be seen well anyway. It's that simple. And as well, as common sense, is an old saying, common sense ain't common, because it's not. A lot of people don't necessarily think fully with common sense, because if they did, the world would be a better place. I can guarantee you that. I can guarantee you if more people thought before they spoke, if they listened with both their ears and used their mouth when they needed to, as opposed to react, that would make a total difference. And Tara's saying people make up issues. Surround yourself with positive and you get positive. Exactly. Like becomes like. Like attracts like. And I can say honestly, there are people right now in this broadcast that I've known for a long, long, long time. And I know them personally. And I know who they are. I know their personalities. And I can say that a good 99.9% of them have amazing spirit and wonderful hearts, and they actually do their best to be a better person. And I have to give you guys props for that. So, next concept here. I'm going to spend an obnoxious amount of money just to look good. I'll tell you, it's not about the money and how much you pay for it either. It's really about the person. If, and this is a perfect example, for one birthday, I had this fascination, and still do have this fascination, with the cartoon character Stitch. So one birthday, and I was already very much an adult, one birthday, friends of mine decided to give me multiple size Stitches. I have one Stitch that's in my Jeep, and as a matter of fact, I have one of the Stitches that was given nearby. So, who gives an adult man a Stitch plushie? Right? But the point is, because they went out of the box and said, you know what? This is something that this person would really love and appreciate. I loved that birthday. It was a beautiful birthday. They made they did a handmade card for me, and everyone signed it and drew on it and did their own artwork, and all of it was phenomenal. Now, would I appreciate that less than, say, if someone got me, a brand new car? Well, a brand new car wouldn't be bad. However, it's not about what. It's about the intention. And there's another tip for you guys. It's about the intention. So if you go, I have more than two, Anna. Actually, I think they all grouped up and ganged up on me, and I think I ended up with 4 or 5 Stitches. Okay. Now, of course, Tara's saying she loves anything handmade. Now, she also is a mom, and a mom of a gorgeous little girl. Now, guess what? I can tell you, I still have handmade paintings and artwork from, homeless kids that I worked with, as well as kids that I taught art to and adults I taught art to. I still have them. So this is really, it's about the intent. It's about putting love into something. It's about putting that energy into something. And this is primarily really the topic today for this Insight with Moonshadow today, because too many people forget that during the holidays. Too many people forget, what can I do for you? And you are blessed. Good thing she wasn't like Mama. Sorry, not sorry. But Tara's like, what? But the thing is this, though. It's really all about intention. It's about energy. It's about who you are. It's about being the best person you could be to others. And people are going to know this. The better you are, the better it will be. So there are a lot of people I've known for 20 years plus. And there are people in this broadcast I've known 10 years plus or 15 years plus. And the person I am today is probably no different than the person I was back then, except, well, the world can make you a little bitter, but then you gotta rein that in. You can't let them harsh you zen too much. You have to rein it in and still be that hardwired good person that you are deep inside. That's really important. Now, Anna's saying, I tell my kids that they'll never have to stress out about gifts for me, that a homemade card is always a good option. And it really is. And again, granted, and then there's the other thing about the practical gift and the frivolous gift. That's up to your judgment. If you think that your loved one, the person that you're getting a gift for, is going to really like a Vitamaster because they want to make smoothies, have at. If they want a vacuum, That's great. But some people don't want to vacuum. Sometimes thinking out of the box and saying, geez, you know what? They clean houses for a living. The last thing you do is give them a vacuum. So again, think about the person. And I know this is the hard part. This is the real hard part, people, is that it makes shopping a little more difficult because you're thinking about the person. You're thinking about the person's energy. You're thinking about who they are, what they do, what they like. It's a big difference. So if you know someone loves flowers, you surprise them with flowers. It's a win-win. Or you can go out, find the newest, hottest thing that that you find on posting on Facebook or some social media. Ooh, this is the newest, hottest thing. You got to get this for everybody. They may not appreciate it, but this is all part of that. So it's all really about looking at that person's energy, who they are, what you can do to either, it could be to make their life easier. You could just be helpful. I'll tell you, I gave this as a gift one year. All I did was, it was an empty box. And in this empty box, there was a letter. Now I wrapped up the box and it looked really nice. And they shook the box and it felt like an empty box, except for a couple of rocks I put in there because that would make noise. And they confused them. But then they went into the box and they got the letter. And they looked at the letter. And the letter basically, I'm not going to go into the whole letter since it was personal, but the essence of the letter was, I know how hard it is for you to have time for yourself. So I'm going to watch your kids on any 3 occasions. You just give me 24 hours in advance, and I will watch your kids for you. You can have a spa day. You can go out with, you can go out with the hubby. No worries. They're in good hands. Now, that was one of the best gifts they ever received that year, because they don't get the chance to. They're constantly working and all that. They didn't get the chance to actually enjoy each other's company. So I had no problem watching the kids while they did that. To have a couple of date nights, no big. Now, Anna's saying also giving a donation in honor of them to a charity, and it's a win-win. Also, too, that's another good suggestion. And thank you very much, Anna, for bringing up. That was in the back of the mind. Giving a donation for someone, because if their loved one, say, died of cancer or died of a certain disease or loved certain things, you can give to their favorite charity. I knew someone that loved animals. They loved animals. So a bunch of us gave to a charity, to their favorite charity. That's like important stuff. What if they live in ancient time, not up to date with the time? Well, okay. Well, even then, you can still figure out something. There's always a way to figure it out. Now, Tara's saying, I would to get that. I think she's saying, I would love to get that. A day to yourself is the best thing to give any parent, and it's true. Give you a break. I remember one time I went to visit my sister, and then I'm playing with my niece. My nephew was already a little bit older, and I'm playing with my niece, and my sister was like, "Do you have to go anywhere?" I went, "You do what you got to do." And I played with her. I watched TV with her. I watched movies with her while my sister was cleaning the house, because my little niece is like a little piece of Velcro. She's like, that in itself is a wonderful thing to do. And it doesn't have to be Christmas. This just happens to be because we're in December. But ultimately, you could do that just because. Just because. You can give flowers just because. You can give someone a phone call just because. So this is all part of it. So ultimately, wouldn't things get better? Hey, Elisa, hi. How you doing? Welcome. Wouldn't things be better if you were just a better person to other people? Wouldn't the world change? It's almost the revolution in itself would be the energy exchange would be so massive that the world would automatically all negativity would probably cease, even if it's for a moment. Let's think about when that unfortunate tragedy happened with 9/11. Everybody banded together. It was unified. It wasn't segregated like we are today. 2016 is you're afraid to talk to people. You know, you have to watch out who you talk to. You don't know what someone's going to say or what someone's going to do. You know, so ultimately, being part of the solution as opposed to part of the problem is important. And Tara's also saying too, see, this is simplicity. And this is what I love about you guys coming in and sharing your thoughts as well. Because you enrich me and remind me. And if I didn't have it in the back of my mind, you're reminding me too. But Tara's saying, if someone just needs a break, sometimes a hug is all they need. I'll tell you, I have hugged quite a few old ladies in the grocery store or gone for the canned goods, that why they put canned goods on the top floor when a little, a top shelf, when a little 4 point something old lady can't get to it. I just don't understand. Makes no sense. But this is all part of it. So now let's go into some of the tips that you can utilize in not getting the holiday blues and not getting overwhelmed with the season, with with the environment, and also with shopping and the holiday. Okay. Now, one thing that's really important is getting enough sleep. Now, I'm guilty of not necessarily getting enough sleep, but I try every day. So, get enough sleep and take good care of yourself on the physical end. You know, try not to get too jostled with things, because if you do, it's going to cause some kind of stress, some kind of anxiety, and it's going to bring about some kind of consequence you're not going to be interested in. Okay. So now getting enough sleep is important. Now you want to take time for yourself, but don't be a hermit. Spend time with supportive, caring people. Spend time with people that have your back. Spend time with people that don't judge you. Spend time with people that won't throw you under a bus. That's important, you know? Now Anna said, love the just because gifts, just because I thought of you. And it is. That's why I call it a just because gift. It's just because. Now, in a better economy, you know, I used to do that a lot more often, but unfortunately things are what they are presently. But even then, you know, I ended up seeing a coffee mug going back a bit ago. And that coffee mug was perfect for someone I knew. It wasn't expensive, but it was a perfect coffee mug for them. So I bought it. It was a just because. That's it. Hey, Heather, we got Spanky G in the house. So now Sandy is also saying every time I go food shopping, I stop at the flower shop and I buy a few flowers for my mom. Now, what parent wouldn't want to just because I love you flower? Who wouldn't want that? What's going on, Spanky? So this is just another thing you can do. So also, you want to eat and drink in moderation, because I know Thanksgiving we tend to eat a little too much and then we feel like crap. Use some moderation and kind of just think about it for a second. Overstuffing yourself, you're not going to feel really great at the end of it. So, pace yourself. whether it be food, drink, whatever it may be, because things you may say or things you may do or things that may happen may be out of your control. So moderation is kind of cool, and it's kind of important. So now exercise. Now exercise doesn't mean you have to go to the gym actively 4 times a week and be pressing 250 pounds. An exercise tip. You could park a little further away from the mall and walk. Believe it or not, you do that a little bit every day. One of the old places I used to work at, they had an elevator and they had stairs. Now this was a 3rd floor. The office was on the 3rd floor. I stopped using the elevator and I stopped running up the stairs. And I would run down the stairs and run up the stairs. Believe it or not, just by changing, not going into the elevator and doing the stairs, within 6 months, I lost 10 pounds. Mindlessly, effortlessly. Right? So that's important. So now another important tip and life hack here for getting yourself through the holiday blues and through the winter is also make lists. Make a to-do list. Now I know there's certain people in the room that have copious amounts of notebooks that are constantly jotting in notebooks. Don't have to mention the names, but make a list. It could be a short list, it could be a large list, whichever it may be, just to kind of keep you centered in what you need to do, why you're going to where you're going, and then it'll get done. Less anxiety, less stress, and you're going to be a little bit more efficient. Now again, this isn't about being anal retentive. This isn't about being super efficient. I'm not talking about that. It's all about kind of veering towards the center and grounding yourself and balancing yourself out. That's all it is. That's the important part, is knowing where there's moderation. If you find yourself kind of losing the plot, take a breath, walk away for a second, and just kind of regroup. Regroup. And then when you do regroup, then you're less likely to say something, less likely to react to something, less likely to do something you're going to regret. Because it's all about not regretting things. So now, also part of the changing your mindset, you can do things that make you happy. Music soothes the savage beast. It can soothe a rambunctious, super ADD-riddled, chocolate-filled child. Believe it or not, I have seen it happen. Music. So music can do wonders for you too. So if you put on some music that you like, whether it's calming music or it's upright, uplifting music, upbeat music, jazz, blues, rock, whatever it may be. You can play Christmas music in February if you want. April, it doesn't make a difference. If it makes you happy, do it for your mental state. So a mental vacation is very, very also important for you to get through this winter, through all of this muck and mire that we have to go through the winter time. And also too, journals are actually a good gift for people that like to write. Journals are very, very good gifts as well, and they're terribly expensive. You can make a gift basket with a lot of different just because things and make a beautiful custom gift for someone as well. So that's just another little tip on the side. So a lot of these things are really important. Also too, for you to get stuck out of your routine, this also makes a huge difference as well. If you get lured into altering yourself or getting off kilter because of something that someone said or something that someone did or someone cut you off on the road or anything like that. Sometimes they don't even do it on purpose. Sometimes they don't even know. They don't even know that they're doing it intentionally. That happens too. Oftentimes than not, people don't even realize. They're just super uber focused on something, and then they do something that's really, a jerky move. But they just weren't thinking. They weren't thinking of themselves. They weren't thinking of you. They weren't thinking of anything. They were just thinking of, like blinders. Like if you put the blinders on a horse, they can only see what's in front of them. So that happens often too during the holidays as well. So all of these things are really, really key in being mindful and thoughtful about, because you can change really, you can decelerate almost any situation. Almost any situation you can decelerate with being calm, or with trying to inject good juju as opposed to bad, using the light side of the force as opposed to the dark. That's a huge can do. All of that makes a difference. All these little tips and tricks and little things to make your mind go and to make your mind think is really, really important. Because ultimately, you may be part of your own universe. And it's true. Because, if you're a mom or you're a dad, you've got your children. They're like little satellites, right? So if something happens to you, it's going to inadvertently affect them. So it's kind of the same situation. So even though you're in the center of your own universe, and I'm the center of mine, etc., 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 it doesn't mean that you have to be mindless or thoughtless or careless towards others. And the dark side does have good cookies. Just don't stay too long. I don't mind having a beer with Darth Vader, but I just don't want to get into his rhetoric. He gets all anxious. He's anal retentive. I don't know. I think he's constipated. But that's part of it too. I think Darth Vader was a little constipated. That's probably what happened. That's probably why I went to the dark side, because he just was a little constipated. He gave in too quick. Now Yoda, phenomenal, awesome dude. But the thing is this: all joking aside, there is truth to this. There's truth to this. If someone comes at you angrily and you speak quieter and you speak in a non-angry tone, one of two things could happen. It's either going to really make them upset or it's going to calm them down. Hey, Carlos, we have Carlito in the house. What's up? Welcome, welcome. So this is all something that, all these little things make a huge difference, trying to give as positive or inject as much positivity into a situation. There are things that people do that you're not going to like. There are people that you may not even like. But the fact is, try to be something. The one thing I got out of this whole political campaign thing, and this is the only moment that I'm going to talk about politics, is I did enjoy when a certain first lady said, "When people go low, we go high." That was incredibly spiritual, incredibly powerful thing to say. I'm talking beyond the political campaign. I'm talking about beyond all of that. I don't even know if everyone knew the ramifications of such a statement. So if you think about this, you have all kinds of people reacting or losing the plot. Now you're going to need someone to kind of hold it together, right? So if there was a fire, okay, let's go single file. There's a door. Let's go out that way. Sometimes it's really, really good to kind of like focus and just kind of gather yourself and ground. So it's the same thing with how this the winter starts coming in and starts to affect you. It affects you emotionally. I know quite a few people that they love their sports, right? They don't snowboard or do any of that, but they love their summer sports. So now in the winter they can't. They're not as active. So they gain a few pounds. They're not liking having to be out there driving in the snow and that kind of deal. So now you have to up the ante. You have to change things. You have to instill more energy. You have to work a little harder to make things better. So that's important. And now thinking about the nerdy geek side of things for a moment. If you notice, and I'm bringing this up because Tony brought up Star Trek. If you think about it, there's the United Federation of Planets, right? Well, we have the United Nations. There is a lot of things that we could implement in just being better people and makes the world a better place. So you've heard me say multiple times that I consider myself a global citizen. Well, there are people here from all over. There are people that will come in from, Denmark, the UK, Romania, Ireland, England, you name it. So there's a lot of different people out there. So what are you going to choose? Are you going to choose to be the part of the light that kind of helps unify and bring the world together, or are you going to be one of those people that segregate over color or how much money they make or what kind of car they drive or whatever like that? What are you going to do? What part of what part of the world are you going to be in? And that makes a huge difference. So now let's take this. Let's do a summary on what you can do. Now, remember the things that make you happy. You may have to up it up a little bit. You may have to crank it up a little bit more for the winter and during the holidays because it's such a stressful time. Stress, no matter what you say, a lot of people say that they thrive on stress. Take care, Brooke. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much for being here. And hugs to you. But a lot of people, they say they thrive on stress. They thrive on it. It pumps them up. It gets them going. And then they can get sick. So do they actually thrive on stress? They may thrive on the energy, but they can change that stressful energy to energy that's going to motivate them and uplift them and move them. Okay. Just recently, I downloaded it's called a Rock Clock, and it's Dwayne the Rock Johnson. It's an alarm clock that you can get as an app, and he's got some in you can set a goal, and there's no snooze, which I think that's hysterical. But the point of it's motivational, it's inspirational, and he's using his ability to say, hey, look, let's get you moving, let's get you on goal setting, let's get you making some strides to what you want to do. So you can actually make a goal in this app, and then I'll ask you how many days you want to achieve this particular goal, and it'll be a reminder, and there'll be little affirmations in there and all that. So this is all part of finding the light within yourself and being able to don't get affected by all the ugly that's out there. Actually take it and repel it. Take it and exchange that energy, which can bring more ugly, bring some light out there, because that makes a big difference. And I can guarantee the winter won't be so bad, the cold won't be so cold, your day won't be so horrible, Christmas shopping won't be so stressful. A lot of these these little tips and tricks and life hacks and things will help you not be freaking out. not get sick as badly. Now, we all, may get a cold, we may get sick, we may get a sore throat. That's possible. But if you have a good attitude with things, or if you try to do your best to be a better person to you, and I'm not talking about better societally. I'm talking about just being a better person, doing what's right within your heart, what's right. So that's a big, important aspect of it. So now, are you ready to go out there and do your shopping if you haven't done your Christmas shopping, or go out there into the masses? I'll give you a little trick. This is a tip that, now, most of these actual tips and tricks I actually utilize. So I am practicing what I preach. As hard as it can be at times, I practice what I preach. Try letting somebody in to traffic. There's a massive amount of traffic. It's bumper to bumper. You're in a hurry. Try just letting someone in. You're going to feel it immediately. You're going to feel that juju immediately. And you're going to be like, whoa. I don't feel like I'm actually, you don't feel like you're absorbing that kind of negative energy, because it's plenty. There's plenty out there. There's plenty out there. So that's something for you to think about. You know. So this is a big part of just really being more mindful and thinking about what you do and how you do it. Granted, it may seem like it's difficult, and at first, if you're not used to it, it may be difficult. It may be a little hard at first because you're not practicing the mindfulness that you used to. You're letting the monkey mind run amok. You're reactionary, you do things, you say things, you post things, whatever it may be, you know? But being mindful about it, also, here's another little tip and trick. Think about how that person would feel if they were receiving that same behavior. There's another thing. So now, what would you rather receive? Would you rather someone be kind to you and let you into traffic, or someone see that you have, you know, one item and let you in front of them in that cashier queue there to get to the cash register? Or would you rather be the person that doesn't let someone in traffic? Would you rather be the person that cuts someone off? Would you rather be the person to talk badly, or react badly, or do things that are unnecessary? It's your choice. Ultimately, what you put out there, you will receive. And that's fact. Because if you think about it, if you say something or do something, whether it be physical, because everything has its circumstance, everything has its consequence. So if you do something kind, that person may not be kind to you that moment, but somebody else will be kind to you because you're putting it out. You're putting that ripple out there, that ripple in the pond. And I've seen things happen exponentially. As a matter of fact, going back a couple of years ago, I ran into someone that I haven't seen in a long, long time. And this is pretty powerful stuff, pretty profound, because I happened to barely know them at the time, and all I did was bought them a coffee, random, just because, didn't even know them. Now, many years later, I ran into them. Now I'm standing there, and they're not even in front of me; they're behind me, so I didn't see them. And I hear from behind me, "Oh, and whatever he's having, his money isn't any good. Don't let him pay for that." Name sounded familiar. I turned around, and it was someone that I had bought a coffee for years ago, and we became, we connected every now and then. We'd see each other and talk at this particular Dunkin' Donuts. Now I can tell you this: something as simple as that, something as benign as that, that made me feel good. That's all it took, and I was having a rough day, mind you. So that's a perfect example of paying it forward. That's a perfect example of that ripple in the pond scenario, because that was the one thing that turned my day around. Sometimes you just smiling at someone, just a little smile, helping someone, in one shape, way, or form. The simplest little thing only takes a second. Sometimes can make the most monumental, profound mark in someone. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't have this show if it wasn't for a dear friend of mine. Someone I met, was helping support, near and dear to my heart, and her family. And you know what? I discovered live streaming inadvertently through someone at the place that we were at. And now it's 46 episodes later. So this is all how it is. Life has a way, and this is something to think about. We're gonna close up the broadcast in a few. Life has a way of giving you lessons. Life has a way of showing you things. Life has a way of giving you messages. Now, it's up to you to listen. It's up to you to think. It's up to you to be able to hear the message. Don't get caught up in your own crap. Sometimes, and this happens often too, there's a weird phenomenon that happens, and it's happened to me quite a few times. I'd be somewhere and I'd hear a word randomly from, it could be one or two people having a conversation a while, a bit of ways from me. But it's one word that you hear clear as a bell. 9 out of 10, the universe is giving a message for you and for you. And they don't even know that they're the messenger. So this is part of it. So life has a funny way of guiding you and putting you into people's paths. Life has a way of helping you and giving you support when you didn't know or expect it to happen from that direction. And all of these things is really important to put together in this time frame right now, especially now when it's towards the winter, when it's towards the holidays, because it is all about goodwill toward men. It doesn't matter, and of course, men is understood as humankind, right? Because we're all one tribe. So utilize that, but not just during the holidays. You may have to flex that muscle a little stronger in the holiday. You may have to flex that muscle a little stronger. But life has meanings, omens, messages all the time. We have totems, we have protectors, we have angels. We have earthbound angels, someone that can just help you just because. So do something just because, in the right way, for the right reasons, to be part of the good in the world. And I'm hoping these tips and tricks and life hacks kind of help you out. Hope you get from now to January 2nd. Because it's a battle right now. You could be a warrior and you can protect yourself, but you don't necessarily have to be part of the problem. So try to get out of your own way, out of your own head, and try to help someone else. Give to a charity just because. Help someone out. Give someone a carriage that can't walk, you know? Go get a carriage for someone. You know, drop a couple of bucks into that red bucket. All of these things really matter because the dividends, the return on investment will be exponential. So it's something for you to think about. Something, you know, a little bug to put in your ear. Another challenge. I enjoy challenging you guys with all this earthy, crunchy stuff. So, that being said, we're going to close up the broadcast. But I want to thank you all so much for being here and spending time with me here and so with Moonshadow. It is all of you that inspire me to do this, and I just love being part of the good that's out there because we need more of it. So if you're a light worker, if you're a positive person, if you're someone that is giving, is kind, continue. Keep doing it. So I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you all for inspiring me to continue to do this work. It'll be coming up in a year. It'll be coming up to a year in a few weeks. I think like 6 weeks. So I want to thank you all for that. If you feel guided at all to connect with me or to ask questions or to get some work from me as well, because I'm doing intuitive work. I do intuitive work and healing work. So this is what I do for a living. So absolutely. And for all of you that I don't see too often and I don't connect with often, I miss you guys. Spanky, you're awesome. You know, it means something. When someone touches your heart, it really means something. Hey, Debbie, what's going on? Just closing up the broadcast. But great seeing you here. But if you feel guided to connect and to support, you know, definitely follow and subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can follow me and subscribe to my social media. I'm everywhere pretty much. I'm on Twitter, even Pinterest and Instagram as well. Snapchat, even though I haven't snapped yet. Periscope, Busker, you name it, I'm out there. You can find all those links on my website, which is phoenixrisinghealingarts.com or moonphoenixrising.com. They bring you to the same space. So, as I say every week, be strong, be amazing, be you. Thank you guys, and hope you guys have, if I don't see some of you through the holidays, be well, and I wish you the best. Talk to you guys later.